I'm Kristen Group with Aesthetic Advisor TV, and I'm here with Scott Carson of the Aesthetics and Cosmetic Business Association to begin our series, Zapped, Tactics that Laser Manufacturers Use Against You and What You Can Do to Protect Yourself. Scott, if a system owner wants to purchase a service contract for a machine, how expensive is it? And do they have to get it from the manufacturer? And what's the difference between a service contract and the recertification fee?
You talked about in one of the segments, a recertification fee is nothing more than a way to depress the value of a device in the secondary market. So there's an incentive to only buy new.
Okay.
There's no legitimacy for it. There's no legal basis for it. They like to suggest that the manufacturers like to suggest that it's about patient safety and a lot of different things. A lot of those things there may be some truth in it, but fundamentally it's to drive the value down that really hurts the initial buyer. That's who pays for that depressed value. Service contracts are typically devices have 1 or 2 year warranties, most traditionally 1 year. You can buy additional 2 and 3 year warranties, which in fact is what a service contract is. It's service after the warranty period on a new device. And because these recertification fees exist, and as we've talked about in other segments, they don't support the secondary markets with parts and training of technicians. Essentially, a monopoly is born because if you can't get parts, you can't get service training, you effectively have a monopoly. This then allows the manufacturer to charge whatever they want to get service. Because if you think about it, when you're buying a new device, you're not thinking about year 2, 3, and 4. You're often thinking about just year 1. Can I get started? Can I be covered? So you're not thinking about what that service contract is down the road. And by the time you get to that point, you're locked. You've invested $80,000 or $100,000 or $200,000. You have to keep it up. You've started to experience the instability of the system because this is a new industry. They do break down and they do fail. And when that happens and you're not up right away, your customers are angry. It starts to create brand damage for you. So you're forced to buy that service contract at that inflated value. Again, manufacturers will tell you that it's what it costs, it's expensive, these are hard to maintain. But that's only true if the market is open.
So, Scott, what you're saying is the recertification fee is almost an arbitrary fee that the manufacturer puts on the device to keep you from buying a machine from the secondary market.
Correct.
Where the extended warranty or a service fee is an additional fee that if I want to keep my machine under warranty, I have to pay them on a probably yearly basis.
Yearly basis, quarterly basis. Key point, I have no problem with service contracts. I think manufacturers should have service contracts, and I think manufacturers should be able to provide service. It just is logical. If you buy a Lexus, we talk about that a lot, you should be able to take the Lexus dealership after your warranty period and get service. I mean, that makes sense. Or buy a warranty from Lexus. But in an automobile, you can buy warranties from lots of different companies, not just Lexus. And you get service from a lot of different companies. An oil change, you can get windshield wipers, tires, general maintenance, and even major maintenance in some cases on a Lexus after the warranty period from a lot of different service providers. All we're suggesting at the ACBA is that the manufacturers allow the secondary market of service providers to be able to get parts and service manuals and training, so there isn't a monopoly on these service contracts.
Now, I remember in the first job that I had in this industry, which 2003. So yes, I am that old.
A year or two ago.
Just a year or two ago. The warranty for 1 year from this manufacturer, and this is in 2003, so a long time ago, was $12,000. So $1,000 a month just for the machine. Is that like standard, or are they more expensive? Are they less expensive?
Oh, I think service contracts can range in all different kinds of prices. And I'm not here to argue that a service contract is a fair or not a fair price, and it's hard to say because there are very complicated devices in our industry that the service contract pricing at manufacturer charges may be right. Again, this is about transparency. This is about options. This is about eliminating monopolistic behavior and giving practitioners choices. The manufacturers, like we talked about earlier through this letter from this manufacturer, they're trying to create a monopoly. That's what they're trying to do. Monopolies are not legal in the U.S.
Well, what's interesting is this reminds me of a story that actually happened to me in the second practice I worked in. Is we had a device, and it was a laser with a gun, and it had a little gold band around the crystal. And somebody was teaching with it, and at 5 o'clock came to me and said, this little gold band fell off. and now it's on the ground. And I said, well, we're going to have to call them tomorrow because they're an East Coast company. They've already closed down because we're 3 hours time difference. I call them the next morning and they tell me that the warranty ran out the day before. I mean, and this is no lie. And I about lost my mind because I'm like, you're telling me that the warranty ran out a day before. And they ended up gluing it back on. And so it was okay. But when I got the bill for it, it was $1,000. If it hadn't been covered, $1,000 for this little tiny gold, like a little tiny pinky ring on the 9x9 millimeters on this end. It would have been $1,000. You can't tell me that little piece is worth $1,000. It might have been worth a nickel.
I have several comments on that. The first thing is I think you respect that there are rules and regulations and we sign agreements that say certain things, and manufacturers have the right to enforce those things. And today I was on a flight coming in from Chicago, and it was very busy, and somebody's bag was too big for the carry-on. And the young girl that was fairly arguing with the traveler was like, it's just too big and you can't take it. And the traveler was frustrated. And I watched the whole thing, and it reminded me of this industry when the littlest thing when you're trying to run a business or you're trying to get somewhere can become a big thing. And I respect the manufacturer for holding their ground. And I also respect that the clinician or the traveler in this particular case was just trying to do what's fair and right and trying to get a break. So I get all that. And but here's the issue I think you want to think about is if the manufacturer wouldn't have covered that, don't you want the option to be able to get somebody that would give you a different bid at a different price and not create an uncertified device or a device that you're threatened with the FDA is no longer going to consider it to be an FDA cleared device? I mean, you want an option. And all we're talking about at the ACBA, all we're looking for is a marketplace that's transparent, that has options, where it's fair. And what we think will happen to clinicians is the manufacturer won't charge $1,000 for that. They'll charge a more equitable price, maybe $200 or $300 plus shipping both ways for the time the tech to glue it back on, because there'll be somebody out there with factory training and factory service manuals, which the FDA requires them as part of their 510K clearance to provide service manuals. Most people don't know that, but it's very clear in the 510K regulatory. And you'll find this on the ACBA website where we cite this regulation. And we just want these people to have options so they can get less expensive service, which ultimately breeds a healthier marketplace, improves patient safety and patient compliance, and all the things that we're looking for when we build these businesses.
So we could go to acba.expert and find this information, or send an email or something to get this information on the 510K clearances?
Everything you need to know to reach the board members, to reach the officers, to find out more information, to join is on the acba.expert site. It's www.acba.expert, not com.expert. And the reason why we called it expert is because we're partnered with some of the great luminaries in this space that are passionate about this issue, that have been around this stuff for a long time, experienced this. We have great legal minds that from across the country that are part of the ACBA. They're experts in antitrust and other types of issues. And so it's a focus on the expert nature of our group that is going to help change this industry.
Well, thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
We spent some time discussing one tactic that laser manufacturers use against you and what you can do to help protect yourself. I'd like to thank Scott Carson of the ACBA for his dedication to help change this industry and for speaking with me today. You can check out the website again at acba.expert, and thanks for watching.